Hi guys, this is the feedback channel, and today I thought I'd give you some tips on how to start a diecast car collection, and if you do, what you should keep in mind about buying diecast cars. The first thing I wanna advise you on collecting diecast cars is find what you want to focus on. Like, are you gonna focus on supercars or sedans or SUVs? Because if you don't focus on one thing, it just totally gets out of hand, and you're like, well, like Alex Malik says, you just want to buy everything. And to be honest, they don't look too good, like, Bugatti Veyron next to a Hummer H1. So if you're looking forward to starting a collection, I recommend you find a topic to focus on, like supercars or like sedans, SUVs, or maybe like a certain brand like Porsche, Lamborghini, whatever. So yeah, I recommend you focus on a specific type of models, and then let's say you focus on the theme supercars. Then you need to figure out what scale you want to buy, because actually scale is very important in diecast cars. Depending on the scale, the size of the model differs. For example, the most common ones are like 112, 118, 124, 143. I took the same cars here, so it'll be easy to see how big they are depending on the scale. This is the Lamborghini Gallardo LP560-4, and this is the 118 scale, usually around 23 to 27 centimeters, depending on the car, but around there. And here's the 124 scale. It's definitely smaller than the 18 scale. This one's around 20 maybe. This one's around 10. This is the 43 scale. 112 scale is much more larger, but they're really expensive. And the scale, they all have their strength and weakness. For example, the 43 scale here, they're very small, cheap, and easy to get, so like you can collect many of them even in a limited amount of space. But the problem with these 43 scales are, unless they're not from some brands like Outward, the hood or stuff don't usually open, and the detail is not as good as the bigger scales, which might not be good for you if you're just trying to enjoy the car itself. The 24 scale, it is a little bit expensiver and bigger, which means you have to have more space to put them, but they give a little bit more better detail than the 43 scale usually. The 24 scales, the brands like Altoir or Gyosho don't make them a lot, so the 24 scales are usually used for toys, not for professional collectings. The 18 scale is the scale that actually I'm collecting in. The 18 scale is some are quite expensive, 300, 400 bucks, but the Gallardo right here only cost me 25 bucks, so it's actually quite cheap. Actually, there's not much of a price difference between a 24 and an 18 scale. Of course, saying that they're both low-ended. So yeah, and 18 scales, they have a much more better detail than these two scales usually. Of course, Outlaw 43 scales have a good detail, but usually in 18 scales they have opening doors, opening hoods, and the opening trunks right down there. Depending on the model, some might not have opening parts, but some has like opening parts, like the gas thing right here, or the sunblinds, sunroof. So yeah, and 18 scales, in my opinion, is the perfect scale to actually enjoy the car itself. Like, like enjoy the details of the car, enjoy the beautiful lines. I think the 18 scale is actually the best scale to collect diecast cars. The scale 18 means like this Gallardo, if you put this thing 18 of these sideways, then it's the same as this. So it's an 18th of a car in every length, like height, length, width. All of them are 18th of a car. So that's what the scales actually mean. If you focus on the scales, you need to get focused on the brand. The brand selection I'm going to talk about right now is 118 scales. 118 scales have a huge variety of brands. The most popular ones like Outwart, Gyosho, Maisto, Norev, or Paragon models, Burago, and so many more. So, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and you need to figure that out. Some of the higher end ones are like Outwart or Gyosho. They cost around at least 150, and they may cost up to huge amount of dollars, but they do really provide a good quality. I have the CCX, Porsche Cayenne, and the Bugatti Sang-Noir, which is not shown here because I kept them in this case now. But they have a really good quality. Sometimes they add carpet on their, doors, and they have gas lifts and different parts. For example, the Bugatti Veyron here is just made of plastic and diecast metal, but some of those have like carbon fiber or leather, stuff like that. So if you're looking forward to some professional diecast cars, some real good looking ones and real good detailed, like almost exactly the same car, Outward Gyosho would be quite good actually. But of course, you need to be aware that they're expensive and they break quite easily. The middle-ended ones are stuff like Paragon or Norev. They have a little bit worse quality than stuff like Outward, but definitely cheaper, around $100. And yeah, they sometimes have carpet and they're okay quality. So, if you just want to spend a little bit large amount of money, then Norev and Paragon is quite good. And for people like me, I usually focus on low-ended brands, which is stuff like Motormax, Mondo Motors, Maisto, and Burago. They cost around you $30 to $50, and I have to admit the quality is a lot worse than the ones made by Outward, Paragon, or Norev, or even Hot Wheels. But the thing is, they're really cheap, and some of the Outward models, they're limited editions, so it might be difficult for you to get them. But stuff like Maisto, you can get like anywhere because they're like everywhere, and they have a quite good quality too. What I'm talking about is the, for example, I have the Porsche Carrera GT here. I got this thing for $22, and it's unbelievably great, looking car. So if you're still young or maybe a teenager or college student, cheap ended ones would be quite okay too, because you don't have to spend a lot of money on them. I mean, these things only cost like $12 in Costco. So yeah, and there's a particular brand named Maisto, and they make a huge variety of models for around $20. Not only this Porsche Carrera GT, but they have a Lamborghini Murcielago, Lamborghini Gallardo Pellegrina, Bugatti EB110, Benz CLK GT or S-Class AMG. They have the models that you might want to have. So if you're not looking forward to spending too much money on your cars, may still be a great option. Or stuff like Welly or Burago too. I don't really recommend Motormax or Mondo Motors because their price range is similar to Maisto, but the quality is a lot worse than any of them. And some people might want to know about Ferrari collections. Not a lot of brands make Ferrari. There's a specific brand that makes a lot of Ferrari. And it's Hot Wheels. I have the FXX and the Testarossa made by them. They have they're mid-ranged like Norev or Paragon, and they have like so many Ferrari models like LaFerrari, Enzo, Testarossa, FXX, 599 series, F12 series. They have so many that if you want to get a Ferrari, you're better off here because other brands that make them, they don't usually have a huge Ferrari as this one, or they're much more expensive. And another thing you guys might want to know is the tuning of the cars. Like, if you're not satisfied with your models, you can obviously tune them. You might want to tune your appearances, like coloring the rims or coloring the headlights, or making the grills darker, improving your quality basically. But this car right here is the only one I actually tuned. And what I did with this car is I added carpet tuning to this car. as you can see right here. The carpet isn't on this car in stock, but I did it and it looks nice. So yeah, tuning is another great idea for a diecast car. Of course, you don't want to ruin it. So you might ruin it on your car. So when you're tuning it, you might want to do on a cheaper one, because if you're like customizing models like Auto, not only do they have a quality that might satisfy you already, if you ruin them, they're going to be quite expensive to get parts of, or you might not even able to get parts at all. So you might want to do on the lower ones, because I mean, they have a lot, although they are quite great, they have a lot of places they should improve, so you can have fun customizing your own car, and they're cheap. You ruin them, you can get a new one, because these things are so cheap and they're everywhere. So yeah, you can get them, and you can even use the first one to replace parts when you break the second one. So yeah, for tuning, when you're collecting, if you're collecting diecast for tuning, I recommend the Maisto brand again, because they're really fun to customize. So that's my advice. You should first focus on what kind of car you want, supercar, SUV, sedan, or whatever. Then you should focus on the scale, 118, 124, 143, and then of course you should focus on what brand you want, depending on the price range you're looking for, and the types, the brands you might want to get is different. Auto, Maisto, Borrego, there's so many brands. And of course, and above all, what's so important is, if you're really into cars, you buy one, you just can't seem to resist buying the next. So what I'm trying to say here is, you love cars and you want to collect these diecast cars, you have to be prepared, because there's so many great ones around. So you get a Bugatti, you want a Koenigsegg. You got a Koenigsegg, you want a Hypersport. So you gotta be prepared to spend a lot of money. And of course, you're gonna need a lot of space. For me, I keep them right here in this shelf. Of course, some of the models like the Koenigsegg CCX, Porsche Cayenne, Ferrari FXX, I keep them somewhere else because I'm already full here. So you gotta be prepared to have a lot of spaces too. Oh, and when you keep the models, how do you take care of them? Is you might want to keep if you're planning on selling them, later on, like you want to have it for a short while and sell it, you might want to keep the boxes, because a model without boxes has very low value. So you might want to keep your boxes, and don't keep them in places with sunlight, too much sunlight, because the paint varies, especially in white paint like this Bugatti. And dust them regularly, because I've seen some really dusty models and they don't really look good. Especially you want to take a good care of the dust on these roadsters, because I mean, they're hell taken care of. So that was it. My tips, my views on starting and taking care of a 1/18 scale diecast car collection. I overall think this is a great hobby, although it's money consuming and space consuming, and it will be probably a great hobby for people who loves cars. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.